So what's new since last year? So I like to use this as a little bit of a state of Miva and talk about it. So first things first, this is our big, sales were up across the board last year, not for every merchant, but across the board on our network. But most importantly, 2024 is the biggest Black Friday, Cyber Monday we've ever seen, which is really interesting, right? Because pandemic shattered some records that we thought might hold for a few more years. And if you really think about how e-commerce looked, not just for us, but in general, it skyrocketed, and I think everyone in the e-commerce market wanted to believe, if you will, that that was just like a leap up and then we would keep growing. And what really happened in practical terms is it went up and most of e-commerce went kind of flat. There was some growth depending on where, but it's now back to what I would call pre-pandemic trajectory. And so I would expect us to keep our steady march. I don't know the exact numbers right now, but I do think total online sales are running around 12 or 13% of total sales, which is great, especially compared to where we started. But there's a lot of growth left in this space. And so we're really excited to see that. We launched a ton of new automotive and industrial supplies related no-code features. So how many of you have used either the My Garage, the Core Charges, Brennan will cover all these, the high decibel pricing and weights. These features were all designed to the quick order flex component. These were all designed to make it so that things that we used to be very proud that we could do, but we had to do them custom, you now can do with no developer, point and click. And whether you have a garage full of cars or washing machine parts, it doesn't matter. You can use that tool for fitment to help you drill down, and you don't need any coding required to make it work. But there's one more update since we last met. Some of you have already heard this update, but 8 days ago, we had the most important update for me in the history of Miva, which is this. So it's a little bit shocking that I'm here, but luckily we had lots of time to plan. And then when I go home tomorrow, I'll be back off the grid for a little bit. If I seem distracted when I'm talking to you here, that's why. So she is wonderful. She is healthy. My wife and I are over the moon excited. And so that's our newest member of the Miva family. And on top of that, and MJ will spend more time on this, you know, for our company, for the size of our company and for the development staff we have, and we are a unique beast in the world of e-commerce because we actually are profitable. Which is unlike how most people try to operate in this business. But I'm a big fan of not dying. And so you'll see this. I mean, the scores we put up are just, they're incredible even if we were a super giantly funded VC-backed startup. But they're more incredible that we do it with our dedicated team of Miva employees who I think like working here because they like working with other entrepreneurs. They like working with people who care about their business. We had a similar slide to this last year. What you'll see that's been added here is we keep doing really well on G2 Crowd. At UPS, we won their Trailblazer Award, and then in the Paradigm B2B report, we got 9 medals, 5 gold, 4 silver. You can only get up to 12, and in the 3 that we got no medal, we literally didn't offer a product. And so it was an incredible year for us, and we're just very excited about all of that. We also launched a number of new products in 2024. The first, and many of you have probably heard about this one, we call it ProPerform. ProPerform is a mixture. Right now, it's going to expand. ProPerform is a mixture of monitoring, audits, and a little bit of service. It's not really designed to be a heavy service product. It's designed to give you insights into your business. So what we see, how many of you build sites versus run a site? No, there's some. Okay. How many of you have built an amazing site that you're super proud of, and then they go upload gigantic, unoptimized images, and their page speed crashes, and they wonder why their SEO is terrible? I believe those kind of things are common. Or someone does what's more normal than that. I mean, they do that a lot too. But what also happens is they start adding apps, tracking, because what happens as soon as you have any success in the world of e-commerce is you start getting marketed to by every SaaS marketing plugin in the world saying, oh, they have the secret to making you rich. You didn't have it yesterday, but today you're going to get rich if you buy their thing. And it's really easy. All you have to do is throw some JavaScript on. It'll work with anybody. And you throw that JavaScript on. And then you know what happens tomorrow? You didn't get rich. And then you forget you have it. And then a year goes by, and you have 40 JavaScript external dependencies on your website, and you can't figure out why you're getting a D on your Lighthouse scores, and you can't figure out why your SEO's in the toilet, and you can't figure out why people are complaining that your site doesn't work. So there is no easy way for us to, well, we wouldn't want to stop you from making those choices because we don't think that's the right paradigm. It's your business. We want to empower you and enable you to succeed. So what did we do? We decided to create a product that's designed to help you keep an eye on these things. So whether it's once a year, twice a year, 4 times a year, and then we'll monitor it continuously. We will help you identify those things, optimize those things, and sort of clean out your digital house 1 to 4 times a year to make sure that your site is performing and you're not losing sales. We also expanded Miva Connect. So if you recall Miva Connect, I think we officially announced it at Camp Miva 2022. This is our ERP product where we connect deeply to ERPs. We have supported NetSuite this whole time. You'll hear a lot about Rally House this week, today and tomorrow. But we've expanded Miva Connect to work with NetSuite, Dynamics, and Epicor. So if you're using NetSuite, Dynamics, and Epicor, and you want to push orders from Miva into that system, push shipments from that system back into Miva for tracking, sync inventory, manage products if that's how you manage your products, we can do all that. We can also work with any other system, but any other system that's not these three will have some custom time to connect to their API. But these are the three we support out of the box. And it's just really exciting. We believe connected commerce is part of how you all succeed. And what we mean by that is you really, really, really have to keep an eye on manual processes and time sinks, because you will quickly get to the end of what you're capable of doing, and you'll get in a success trap. The more you succeed, the less time you'll have, the less focus on your business, and your business will act like a buoy kind of doing this. The only way to get it back to doing this is to get yourself out of all the manual crap. It is literally the only way to do it. And so we believe that connected commerce is a critical part of that. In addition, we relaunched our additional storefronts product. So if you've been on Miva for a very long time, you're familiar. For a long time we had the small concept. It was kind of clunky. But with multi-domain, we relaunched it. So you can now, using multi-domain, with multi-domain, there's a couple different ways to use it. So with just a single site and no extra fee, you can throw as many URLs on that site as you want. But if you want to run a second site that's in the same admin, so let's say you're going to run a Canada site and a US site, and they're going to have totally different payment, totally different tax, totally different shipping. Use Miva Additional Storefronts 2.0, plug it in, and you can use it. You can grab them online. They're $100 a month, co-termed with your SaaS contract. Okay. I don't know, have any of you played with our new agents, our docs? Okay, so one or two, but not many. So you're going to hear a lot about AI today and tomorrow. I was laughing, and I didn't have a good way to show it, but last year I was up here talking about how cool AI was, and I was showing how I made a headshot of myself without taking the picture. And I'm kind of laughing at how stupid of an experience that was, because this year we're talking about an AI agent writing code for you. And next year, these examples will seem quaint. But we have 2 live agents right now. If you go to docs.miva.com, and you can go to a lot of our website, the forums, et cetera, you'll see a little blue box in the lower right corner, and that will answer our documentation questions for you. So we have a couple thousand pages of docs with high quality information, but before this agent, it was virtually impossible to find the documentation you were looking for. It was just needle in a haystack kind of stuff. And this is a game changer. Our docs went from not helpful to helpful in one agent. And there's more coming that way, because now we see the power of what we can do with it. But more interesting and probably less known is if you write any Miva code at all, so template code, anything, if you need to do something that looks like code, if you go to docs.miva.com/developer, that little blue box, which looks the same, is not. It is an actual coding agent designed to help you. So if you're trying to do some template code, if you're trying to make a small change in Miva, and you want to just do it yourself, you can go ask that and get usable code back most of the time. So those are things that exist today, but let's talk about some stuff that's coming soon. This next thing I'm going to show is purely a prototype at this point, but I do expect a product to be released later this year. It's an AI client care agent for your customers, not for us. And so what that means is you'll have an agent that you can put on your store that can search products, search orders, help manage reviews, or help manage returns, as well as open tickets on your behalf. So here's a listen of it calling. If you guys have seen my webinars, Ask Wayne's, et cetera, you'll hear me talking about my Yellow Tea site. So this is Paul from Bot Dojo, who helped me build this, calling Yellow Tea about an order.
Welcome to Yellow Tea customer support. How can I help you today?
I haven't got my order yet. I think it should be here.
I'm sorry to hear that your order hasn't arrived yet. Could you please provide me with the email address associated with your Yellow Tea account? This will help me check the status of your order.
Yeah, it's paul@botdojo.com.
Thanks, Paul. I see that your order, placed on March 1st, 2025, for the Take-Two Clip-On Visor Square Brim and Executive Greens tool, is currently in transit with an expected delivery date of March 13th, 2025. Would you like me to create a support ticket to get more detailed tracking information for you?
No, I'm calling about the golf towel.
The screen-printed golf towel was part of your order from February 1st, 2025, and it shows as delivered. If you haven't received it, would you like me to create a support ticket to address this issue?
Yes, I would.
Now, for the sake
Great.
of...
Let's create a support
Sorry,
ticket for
bot.
you. Could you confirm your full name and your preferred method of
You
contact,
can pull the
email
audio
or
down.
phone?
I think the point has been made. So now I'm arguing with bots. The thing about this is I used voice because I thought voice was a good demo, but this is a web chat bot, a text bot, a voice bot. This is a multimodal front to how you communicate with your clients. And by the time we ship it as product, there won't even be those lags in it. And the fact that Paul could talk right over the bot and the bot didn't, I mean, I'm sure we've all had the thing where we're talking to an airline and we try to say something and then it throws the AVR off and it all falls to crap. This is not like that. This thing works very conversationally, but most importantly, it's designed to, going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about Miva Connect, it's designed to save you time, right? So much of this information can be provided to them quickly and in a way that's accessible to them. Text is my hunch will be the most popular. Website chat will probably be second, and then people over 50 will call the phone number. And so that's my take on how this is all gonna work. In addition, we have one other exciting new thing that's not part of our formal product announcements that we're happy to give a little sneak peek on. As you all know, I think we have a very close relationship with UPS. And we've gotten closer to a subsidiary of UPS called UPS Capital. UPS Capital has a ton of cool technology for e-commerce merchants that's not UPS logistics specific. And so soon we'll be rolling out a native Insure Shield integration, which you all ship products, or most of you ship products. So I'm sure you had product go missing or get damaged, and you're trying to claim the $100 or whatever you insured it for that comes with each shipment. And it's a hassle, it is slow. It almost, you start wondering if the juice is worth the squeeze. This is an entirely different insurance product. It's multi-carrier, so they don't care how you shipped it. They'll pay you within a week, and it's full declared value. So it's a great product. We're super excited, and it will be cheaper than the insurance you get, or at least the public rates of the insurance you get. I can't speak to how anyone has a specific contract with UPS or any other carrier, but it's going to be super competitive, and that's just the first of many products we're building with UPS Capital. We have some delivery products and some returns products that we're excited to. We're just not quite ready to talk about them. So I will be back in a few minutes. Actually, I'm going to hang with Brendan. Brendan, you ready?
I'm going to talk about new features that we've released in the past year. I'm constantly impressed of how much our team, our software development team, can produce in a year. We have a fairly nimble, fairly small team, and they just produce an incredible amount of really, really high quality features, which I want to talk about a few of them today. So one of my favorite new features is multi-domain. And if you don't know, you have the ability to add additional domains to Miva. And it's actually really easy. I had the chance to do this with a demo store that I was working on, and I set up my new domain. I emailed our support team and told them here's a new domain I'm setting up, and then I just go to this screen here and I click a few buttons. I choose if I want to share the full product catalog or limit it, and it was done. And within 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I had an entire different store with its own look and feel attached to my main store, and I was like, wow! Like my first reaction to this was, this is really easy, like almost too easy. That's how good it is. It's an incredible product. I highly recommend everyone. Oops.
There you go. That one runs a little slow.
It does. Okay.
Yep.
There you go. So use cases, right? What can you use multi-domain for? Well, a very simple one is, how many people here have multiple Miva stores that they operate, or multiple e-commerce stores that they operate? So several of you, you can take that, you can bind them all to a single instance of Miva. So you have a single instance of Miva to maintain, to update. It's just a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier. So you manage multiple stores. They're still separate product catalogs, separate looks and feel, separate shipping, payment rules, tax, all that. But it's a single instance of Miva, which is really nice. But we made it even more flexible, where you actually can have sub-stores. So instead of having separate stores, you have the single master store, and then you have maybe different brands within that store. So you could have the same product catalog or a subset of that product catalog. Imagine you have you sell gifts, right? And you have a category for baby gifts and wedding gifts, and you want to build an entire brand around a particular type of gift. You could easily do that with the same store, the same product catalog. You can choose to share that catalog, a subset of it, share inventory, share the integrations that are already set up, so you don't have to do that over and over again, share tax, payment, shipping. So all that work that you set up for your main store, you now can leverage to a sub-store. Another great example would be if you do wholesale, right? Let's say you wanted to do a separate wholesale site with its own domain name for your wholesalers. You can quickly and easily do that. So really powerful tools, all baked into these new multi-domain features. Tied into this is a feature called collections. If collections are a way to group products together in an automated fashion. So the most simple use case is I have a brand, and I want to group that brand of products together that in a grouping and then do something with it. So I was having a conversation just this morning. You can create rules, so all products that have a custom field of this particular brand, group together into a collection. And once you have that collection, as you add new products to the product catalog, whether through the admin, whether through an import, whether through the API, as long as it's tagged with that particular brand, it will automatically get added to that collection. So as you remove products, add products, that collection is always up to date, which is really nice. You don't have to go and constantly keep that up to date. And then you can use that collection across different areas of the site. So a very easy use case is, I want this category to always pull from this collection. So every time it's always going to be up to date with the latest products in that brand. Or you can use that collection in our discount engine for price groups. So you can say, okay, I want to discount this particular collection. Or you can say, you can create a rule, all products that start with A, B, C dash, put in this collection, and then you can go and you can discount that by a particular brand. So really powerful rules to group products together and then do certain things with it on the site. This also ties into multi-domain. So what I was talking about earlier, you have those multi-domains. You can create a collection for products that you want to be a subset of your product catalog to show up on a particular domain. You could build this collection, and then you could map it to a domain, which is nice. All right, so we have a lot of AI content here today. We released this last year. This is our integration with ChatGPT, kind of the chat-based use case for AI. It's tied into product descriptions. So this tool is used to really to make your product descriptions better. Right? So most everyone here, I'm sure, is familiar with ChatGPT. You ask it questions. We natively tied it into the admin. So you can go to a particular description, say, update this description and make it twice as long and focus on these particular keywords for SEO. And it will automatically do it for you, and you hit update, and you save it right from the admin. So you get really nice tools to be able to get rich content on your descriptions. We also bake this into Page Builder, so any content section within Page Builder, right? If you're doing content for a landing page and you need help writing the content, it's right there. You click a button, and you can leverage ChatGPT to help you write that content. What's nice about it is we actually have the ability to save prompts. So if you use prompts over and over again, you can create those prompts, save them, and then reference them so you don't have to type the prompt out each and every time. All right, so search logging. This came up over and over again from customers that they want to have some visibility into what customers are actually searching for. So I want to highlight two things here. This has a bunch of data. You can export it to CSV. You can go crazy with it, do a bunch of analysis on it. But two things that are worth noting here is that we track, when someone searches for something and then places an order, we track that order number back to what they search for. And so you could take that data and say, okay, well, what keywords, what are people searching for that actually produce orders, and make some decisions on that. You can create content around that. Another thing is we track search results that have searches that have no results. So something everyone can do today, go into Miva, pull this up, sort by that column, and you'll see all the keywords that people are searching for that didn't return any results. So what do you do with that data? You can take that data, you can say, oh, well, this product that we're searching for is no longer active, but this product over here is actually the one we want to send them to. And so you can create a custom field, put in synonyms, and make that searchable, and now you reduce the number of search results that have 0 results, which is really nice. So we're trying to surface useful data for you, our customers, to be able to take action on and make your site a much better experience for customers. All right, so we are constantly making improvements to the admin. There's a bunch of updates here that I'm not going to mention, but two things I do want to highlight. One of them is we're always focused on performance, whether that's the front end or the admin. That's kind of a core tenet of Miva. We spend a ton of time and effort making sure Miva is as fast as possible. And just one small piece of this is we added support for a modern image format called WebP last year. It's an image format, I think, created by Google. It faster images. So it's now native to Miva. You can now upload your images in WebP. We'll automatically resize them for you. It's all baked into Miva. The other one here that's worth highlighting is we support, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a basket ID. It's the fourth item there. And why this is useful, right? So why would we want to surface a basket ID to the shopper? Well, we have tools in Miva, one of them called Review Baskets, where you actually can see live who's shopping, what they're doing, what's in their cart. Are they in the checkout process? Are they logged in, not logged in? And so if you want to, you can go look at that data. It's a lot of data, and you can filter and sort by it. But one nice thing here is that you can use this as a customer service tool. So a customer calls in, they're on the site, they're trying to find something, they're having problems. Well, you can say, well, give me your basket ID, and they can go and look up their actual basket from within the Miva admin And now you have a customer service rep who can help solve problems, and whether that's modifying the basket, adding something to their cart, if there's a problem, giving them a discount. You have access to see what's in the shopper's cart, modify it, and you kind of have this super user mode that you're shopping live with the customer, which is really cool. All right, like Rick said, we've spent a ton of time on automotive. Who here, by show of hands, is in the automotive industry or around the automotive industry?
Looks like about 20%.
Yeah, it's about 20%. It's our largest vertical. It's the vertical we sell to the most. And I was at dinner last night, and someone was asking me, well, why is Miva so good with automotive? And my answer was really, Miva's great at handling complex problems, and that could be complex integrations. It could be complex catalog data. Automotive. You lost me. There we go. Automotive has just complexity in its catalog, from fitment, year, make, model, from all the attributes, the different specifications about the products, and so Miva just handles that very, very well. And so we've doubled down on automotive features that we have built and want to build. You want to say something here?
Yeah. Sorry. Hi, Brennan. So we say that Miva handles complexity really well, and you'll hear us say that a lot. And it's even though it's very true, as an explanation, it's a little bit hard to understand what that means. So let me add, if you think of how most companies build software, we've all heard of the 80-20 rule. So 80-20 rule, 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your customers, 80% of your effort, all that stuff. And so what I see a lot of software companies do is they take the idea of having an opinion, which is really great. You have to have an opinion to build good software, and they apply it to the 80-20 rule. And so what do? They just decide not to do the 20% that's hard. And then their world changes, and then they apply it again, and apply it again, and apply it again. And next thing you know, sometimes you have very big software companies, but sometimes you have non-successful software companies, and they couldn't find their product market fit because they misinterpreted the 80-20 rule as not doing the hard stuff. And what makes Miva special is that, and I think it's just, we have a real inherent understanding of what it is to be an entrepreneur, and that your business is probably different than your competitors, which is why you're succeeding. So our 80-20 rule is more like, okay, if automotive is a big vertical for us, we're going to focus, not quite 80%, but a bunch of our revenue there. Same with industrial supplies. So that's why we do the heavy mental lifting to figure out how to make those complex things simple. Back to you, Brennan. Sorry about that.
Great. So some new features last year around automotive. So we've supported year, make, model. We call it combination of facets from within Miva. We supported that for a long time, but it was hard to use. You had to go and add template code to the site to get it to work. And so we combined this with our new page builder tools, and we created a combination facet page builder component. And now it's incredibly easy. All point and click, you can control the look and feel, you can put it on any page of the site, you can put it globally on the home page. Very slick, very easy to use. In addition to the year, make, model, we built in My Garage. So customers who use the year, make, model over and over again, who are logged in, we track what year, make, and model they're searching for, we save it back to their account. And you can see that from within Miva admin, so you can go and look at customers and see what year, makes, models they have saved back to the account. But the customer experience you'll see here, they can see when they log into the site, they can see what year, makes, and models that they search for. They have this My Garage. They can quickly go back to those same year, make, and model, which is really nice. Another automotive-focused feature, core charges and fees. So this is really focused around core charges. We have a lot of customers that need to support core charges. And we've done it over the years. We have custom ways to do it, and we wanted to standardize it and make it much, much more robust. So it's now native to the core platform. It's really nice. The core charge acts like a product, so it's attached to whatever product you're selling. You can choose to make it taxable or not taxable. The tax rules around core charges are very complex. And we made it really easy to manage the process. So if you need to refund the core charge, you can do that because it's now a product from within the Miva admin. Really nice features for core charges. All right. Another area that we've focused on this year is Page Builder. So I just looked up last night. Page Builder, it was launched in December of 2022, so it's a little over 2 years old. And we've gotten, out of all the product features we've released, I think I've gotten the most positive feedback around Page Builder. It's really a fundamental change to how you interact with Miva, how you build pages, how you manage your website, how developers build new functionality. It really is super powerful. And so, we spent the first year kind of learning how you guys use it, what features you wanted, getting feedback, and then most of last year was spent fine-tuning it, adding new components, making the experience better. So that's what I'm going to show you here today. So the first one is Inspector. So if you haven't seen Page Builder, here's what it looks like. It's a full page experience. On the left-hand side, you have the components. The components are what make up the page, from a hero to a video to image across. We have multiple images. And on the right-hand side is a live preview of kind of as you add new components to the page, here's what you've seen on the, here's what customers are going to see. And so what was missing is there's a little bit of a disconnect of, well, how do I know which component on the left is tied to the content on the right? And so now we made it really simple. We call this Inspector. You can turn it on or off. And as you hover over different components, you'll see, I'm going to play a short video here, it turns blue. And you can see, OK, well, I'm going to go look at this text, or I'm going to look at this component. And then I can actually, once I have that, I can go and click on it. And it actually opens up the right component to the right content section to make that change. And so if I go here to the next video, you see I'm going to click on this About Us text. It's highlighted blue. And it's going to go and open up the component on the left. It highlights it, and then I can make changes to it. So this, really nice, really easy to use. In addition to the Inspector, we now support Markdown. So Markdown is a scripting, I don't know if it's called a language, but it's a way to format text. So one of the common things that we got feedback on is we want more controls over how we format our text within Page Builder. And so things like bold, italic, probably the most common one is we want the ability to do page breaks, which we added in. So if I replay this video here again.
And while he's doing that, I'll add a couple pieces here. Markdown I think it's about 22 years old now. If you're familiar with John Gruber of the Daring Fireball blog, he was a creator of Markdown, but it has become ubiquitous. Rich text editors are a nice concept, and they're terrible as far as writing output code, being functional. You'll write something that looks fine on your screen, and then you'll get calls, or you'll look at your website. It doesn't work the way you thought you wrote it. And Markdown largely solves that problem. And then also, as a nice bonus, ChatGPT and the other LLMs output their text in Markdown. So when they give you a text result for marketing, it'll just work.
So if I play this, you'll see I can text box, hit a page break, hit return. It actually shows the return on the live preview. Then I can take this and I can then take it and bold it. So you don't even really realize you're using Markdown here. As a developer who wants to go in there and learn how to use Markdown, it's all the flexibilities there. But I click the button for bold, and it bolded the text. The last thing on Page Builder from a UI perspective is the concept of global components. So today, before we added this, components are page specific. So the home page or the About Us page or the Contact Us page, it has a certain list of components that are attached to that page. And there was a use case where you want global components. So the ability to say, I want a banner, a free shipping banner that's going to show across the top of my site. Or the year make model I want to show globally across the top of my site. And so we added the concept of global components that can that show either in the header or in the footer, and that can show anywhere within the site. So if I click on combination facet, I'm going to go and copy this, nice copy and paste. Then you click this global icon, you'll see a header and a footer, and I can go in here and I can go to the header and I can either add a new component, or in this case I'm just going to hit paste. It pastes the year make model, and now I have that global. And you see as I hover over it, the hover turns purple to indicate that it's a global component, and I can manage global components that way. So really nice features to add global items across every page on the site. We added a bunch of new components this year. So we talked about year make model. Again, you have a point and click interface to be able to control the look and feel, how it's displayed, the content above and below it. Really nice. It just works. Same thing with My Garage. That's built into that same component. Once you're logged in, you get access to it. Another one is accordion. So think about a FAQ page, or if you want to add content to your homepage, it's a collapsible accordion. You can have them open by default, closed by default. If you click it, it shows new content. So you have the accordion component you can use across pages on your site. And one of my favorites is the Contact Us form, or contact form. We've struggled with forms over the years, right? As a developer, I've worked with a million different forms, and it was just never easy. It took too long to create forms. You want to create a Contact Us form. And Page Builder provides the tools, the framework, the foundation to make this really easy and really simple. And so the Contact Us form is great because it highlights, I think, a paradigm that we have at Miva, where we didn't just build a simple Contact Us form with 5 fields and you're done. What we gave you is a tool set to build any type of form you want. And so this is really flexible. You can go and add new fields. You can say what types of fields are. Is it a date field? Is it a drop-down list? We'll add validation to those fields. You can mark it as required or not required. And so this really is a really powerful tool that you can do. A Contact Us form, a wholesale sign-up form, RMA form, any type of form on the site you want to use, you can control through this new component, which is great. And then the product list component. So this could be used on category pages, related products, search page, the ability to control the layout of how the list view looks for products, all from the point-and-click interface. You can control whether flash should show, not show. You have really a lot of control over what content is displayed for each of the product cards. You can add new stuff. Really flexible, really easy to use, which is great. How are we in time?
We're good. We're rolling around 1 minute a slide, which is perfect.
Awesome. So we added a bunch of new features to our PayPal integration today, PayPal Complete Payments. That is credit card processing as well as express checkout that everyone is familiar with here. PayPal, of course, owns Venmo. We added Venmo support for PayPal Express Checkout. The nice part about this is it's super easy to use. It's literally just a checkbox that you go and you turn on, and you can choose what pages you want to display Venmo on. You, as the merchant, don't need your own Venmo account. Everything's tied to PayPal, so everything goes back to your regular PayPal account, and it allows your customers to pay with PayPal on your site. Really simple, really easy to use. I highly recommend using PayPal Express Checkout and Venmo. Another PayPal feature, PayPal package tracking. So if you're using PayPal Commerce Platform, we will automatically send up the tracking number back to PayPal. And two main benefits why this is useful is that you get additional seller protection if there's a chargeback or an issue. Once PayPal has that tracking number, they know that you shipped it, so you have just a lot more protection as the seller, as the merchant. And then features for your customers, if they have the PayPal app, they could use that to track their shipment, similar to.
I would say as a customer, I love this feature. So I shop sometimes from one of our customers, Suncoast, and they use all of this, and it's great. And I'm sure we've all seen our competitor company that sends you all the notifications. And we've really struggled with how do we want to do that. We don't want to suggest our customers add another app to their phone. And we think the best way to achieve that with Miva is through PayPal and PayPal package tracking.
Nice part about this is it automatically happens. You don't have to do anything. As long as you're using the latest version of PayPal Complete Payments, you just get this for free, which is nice. All right. So Rick mentioned this previously a little bit earlier, but we added some new functionality around precision pricing and weights. So what this is we support up to 8 decimal places for the product price or the product weight. This also works around discounting. So if you sell small bolts or small nuts or products that you sell in volume, you sell a pack of 1,000 of these and they cost 0.005 cents each, right? This allows you to actually add in, just create the pricing at that level. Previously, you were limited to 2 decimal places, and everything just works. And you actually can get more granular pricing, more granular discounts, better calculation for shipping weights. This came out of, or we've been talking about this for years and years, but last year at Camp Miva, this was one of the features that people requested, and we built it, and it works great. All right, moving on. We have a ton of new integrations that we worked on this year. We did a brand new UPS integration to their latest APIs, their latest OAuth authentication. So definitely make sure you're using the latest version of UPS. Their freight business got sold to T-Force, and so we built a T-Force integration as well. So if you need freight shipping, the T-Force freight is also available. We built a brand new integration to SendLane. So there was an existing SendLane integration. We built a native integration that replaces that. So SendLane is a great email marketing platform to do all the marketing needs that you have. But it's a tight integration to Miva in the sense that we automatically track all the different actions that happen from product view to add a cart. We send up the order data. All your legacy customer product order history gets pushed up to SendLane, so they have all the information to be able to create the most effective campaigns. Another new partner that's here today is TaxCloud. So if you need a real-time tax solution, definitely talk to them. They're a cost-effective tax solution that has really powerful functionality from within Miva. You get real-time tax during checkout, and they also do state filing and submitting your taxes to each state.
Yeah, I just want to add a little color here. You might wonder why we built a new tax integration. There was 2 reasons. One is I've known their CEO. I met him when he worked like 3 companies ago, and he was buying Miva in the 90s. And we just became friends. And so Nate's awesome. And I like working with people of similar mind. And Nate is very entrepreneur driven. And at the end of the day, the top 20% of our customers tend to use either Avalara or TaxJar. TaxJar, once it got bought by Stripe, kind of stopped being easily accessible for support and fixes and changes. So we've really only been supporting Avalara. Avalara is awesome. We love that they're also here and sponsoring. But Avalara is like the everything in the kitchen sink solution. And so it does everything. We use Avalara ourselves as a company. But we noticed when we were looking at our data that the bottom 80% of our customers, that's probably not the right word, but oh well, the 80% of our customers don't use a formal tax solution in Miva, which means almost certainly they're not remitting properly. And if they're not remitting properly, one day they will likely have pain from that. And so we needed to find a cost-effective solution for them, and that's where Tax Cloud came from. Sorry, Brennan.
Oh, that's great. Another new integration, Amazon Pay. So we were probably one of the first e-commerce platforms to support Amazon Pay a decade ago or so, a long time.
More than that, 15 years?
Maybe 15 years. And they had released a whole new platform, a whole new set of APIs. So we updated to the latest version, Amazon Pay v2. So that is now native to the core platform. A much better buying experience. It has a pretty slick one-page checkout. So once you authenticate through Amazon Pay, you go back to Miva to a single-page checkout, choose shipping, automatically calculate tax, click a button, and it will process the order using Amazon, your customer saved cards from within Amazon to pay. All right, and we've spent a lot of time over the years really focusing on ecosystem. That was the focus of last year. We really wanted to make sure that we build a robust ecosystem for Miva, for our customers. So you can see from Tax Cloud, who's we just talked about, we've built a lot of new integrations. NIFT, which is a new partner for Miva, they do thank you gifts to your customers. So on invoice, you can offer your customers a free $30 gift card to some other site. So you get to surprise and delight your customer once they place an order. Really, really cool marketing stuff. Definitely check them out. We have a new partnership with Klaviyo. We have
That's the one I was going to check.
Oh,
so real quick on Klaviyo. Sendlane is our preferred partner, but Klaviyo is the kind of 800-pound gorilla in the space. And so previously it was a module by Arctic Leaf, and Arctic Leaf is sponsoring in here. Thank you, Arctic Leaf. Thank you, Josh, for building that. But we made the decision to create a direct relationship with Klaviyo. We acquired the module from Arctic Leaf, so we are now officially supporting it, and we'll be rolling it out as a native Miva built functionality going forward. So if you're a current Klaviyo customer using Miva, I assure you, you have 100% support on this, and it will be continually improved.
Perfect. A few others here. Sent does browser-based notifications for abandoned carts, for marketing. Credit Key, B2B payments, so think of it like buy now, pay later, but just on the B2B space. So if you offer net 30 terms to your customers, Credit Key could be a great solution. OpenSend, which does marketing, the ability to identify customers who haven't given you their information to potentially market to them. And then also on the automotive side, integration to Spark Shipping, which they integrate with a bunch of different automotive suppliers to make adding product data from a Turn 14 or some other supplier into Miva, pull that order data back into Spark Shipping and push it back out to the supplier to drop ship it. So really exciting stuff. Really, really proud of the ecosystem that we built and that we're continuing to build, and a lot more to come.
The ecosystem. So it's tricky on an ecosystem, right? Because like living ecosystems, you need all the right things for them to thrive. And so Miva has always intended, or at least in the last 18 years that I've owned the company, it's intended to be a complete e-commerce solution. We really don't want you to have to go get a dozen apps to make your site work. And the primary reason isn't that we're trying to hold it all, because we give you all those apps for free at the same price as our competitors. The difference is we want your site to work. We want it to work fast. We want it to work reliably. And I would assume all of you have been in the situation where something's not working and every person you call points to the next person in the chain. And then you're like, I just need my site to frickin' work. Like, what the And that's the problem with a normal ecosystem. And so we've built all these things in, which meant that we didn't foster a developer community to build all these apps, which meant that we're now being very selective and very specific about how we build it. And Brendan's done a phenomenal job over the last year, and you will see more of this to come. I would expect to be having a slide like this, getting bigger and bigger, with all of the things that we've added to our ecosystem in the previous year, based on stuff we think is perfect for our clients.
So I'm MJ. I run sales and marketing at Miva. And what's going to happen now is I am going to talk a little bit about some market research, which is going to be interesting for everybody. And then I'm going to go over a case study that we're really proud of, and hopefully that gets folks excited about what's possible in the future. And this is kind of the transition from the core of Miva and how we're updating it, which Brennan and Rick were talking about earlier, which is amazing. And then the future of what's going on, which is we're all extremely excited about. So that's what's gonna happen now. There's a little bit of an interlude. So I joined Miva 2 years ago, and when I joined Miva, I started recording all of our sales calls. Not to be creepy, I promise. It was just to make sure that we understood what was going on in the market, what people were saying their problems were, and making sure that we were solving those problems. So I looked this morning, we've recorded 5,303 calls over the course of the last 2 years, and these are all talking about different e-commerce scenarios. And what I'm going to talk about now is just the top five things that we've heard And I'm also going to show you a little data on where Miva stands in the marketplace. So we're really excited about this. The first thing that everybody talks about is performance. I just want my site to work, especially in the B2B market. If you're a B2B seller or you're a high volume seller and you're on a platform where you can be taken down by another seller, like if you're selling auto parts and Kylie Jenner's makeup kits take down your site, that's embarrassing. And that can happen. You guys are supposed to be strong and tough. You're selling auto parts, so you can't have Kylie Jenner's makeup kits take your site down. On Miva, that will never happen. The way that we've designed the infrastructure is super solid. And the ratings that you're seeing here from G2, so these are customer ratings. These are thousands of ratings comparing us to just a subset of our competitors. So you can kind of see where we're getting ranked in those. So we rate really high on performance and reliability. I'll talk about that in a second, a case study. And then we also rank really high on the security front. And Rick touched on that in the 2024 cyber attacks on Black Friday and how performant Miva was across all of our stores. So you can rest assured you're in really good hands with us from that perspective. Let me go back one. So the second thing that everybody wants is features and flexibility. But when I hear this in a sales conversation, what I really hear is, my business is unique. We do things a certain way around here. And we need our e-commerce platform to be able to function with us, help us sell, because our business is different. And one of the things that I really loved when I saw this ranking is, we know that Miva is customizable. If you could dream it, you could do it on Miva. When we compete against companies like Shopify, they have an app store. They have thousands of apps in the app store, and people look at those apps and they think about those apps as customization. They think about them as different ways to extend the product. But even with that, on G2, we're ranking higher from a customization perspective. And I think this really made me think about the App Store and apps. And when it comes to the functionality, it kind of rhymes with apps, but starts with a CR. And I think that's what people really see. Miva is different. And then on the content management front, a 9, easy to use. And then product configuration, we're leading the pack there across some of these competitors, which was really exciting and was happy to see. And then next, selling tools. How do we sell more product? Is that baked in? And we talked about bundling, kitting, discounts, promotions. All of these are incredibly important tools that you can use in your e-commerce store to increase your average order value and sell more. That stuff's baked into the core of Miva, and we plan on keeping it that way. We just talked a lot about payments and payments integration. We're also ranking incredibly high there, 9.2 versus some of our competitors. And then shipping and returns. So this is becoming more and more of an issue for a lot of e-commerce sellers. There's kind of like an Amazonification of the e-commerce world where people expect returns. They might just buy something, return it. That's kind of like their operating system when they buy. That's their MO. So if you're operating a store, that's something that you need to deal with. So we were very happy to be leading the pack on that front too. Shipping and returns, we just talked about tax, extending our platform even further from order management, returns and refunds. We're also leading the pack versus these competitors when you look at thousands of reviews on G2. And then last but not least, but we feel that this is very important, is having a great partner. So when we're out and we're talking to prospects who are considering coming to Miva, one thing they want to know is, are you a true partner with us? And this is something that we take very seriously. I think you could see it in the numbers. This is part of our DNA. This is core to who we are at Miva. You are not just a number when you call and you need some help or you reach out to our customer service department. We are really in this with you. We want you to succeed, and we've set up our organization that way. Not a lot of other people feel that way versus our competitors if you look at some of the rankings in G2. So we were very proud of this metric as well. So this is the foundation that Miva is, how customers feel about us and how customers feel about some of our competitors, which is something that we're really proud of. I think we know that e-commerce is a puzzle. There's no silver bullet. There's not one thing that you could implement, to Rick's point earlier, where you just get rich. It's a bunch of different things. It's a bunch of different puzzle pieces that you have to fit together to make work. And we did this with Rally House. We worked very closely with them to put all the puzzle pieces together. I'm going to share a little bit about what happens when we did that. Rally House, when they came to Miva, they were thinking about a number of different problems that they experienced. The first one was just general site. So Rally House sells apparel, a lot of sports apparel. And when something happens, like the Philadelphia Eagles completely dominating the Kansas City Chiefs, go Birds. Yeah, right, we got a couple of Philly fans out there. The site can crash because people like me want to buy a championship hat and we make impulse buys. And when you're making an impulse buy, that site needs to work because you're going to lose me if I move on. So their site was crashing in these very high traffic, high volume scenarios, and that was costing them a lot of revenue. That's a big problem for their business case. The platform was slow. The platform that they were on, Ecommerce, was slow, very rigid. They had inventory issues, and the one that was most painful to them was buy online, pick up in store. So Rally House has over 200 brick and mortar stores and is expanding rapidly. And buy online, pick up in store is one of the things that is very important to their customers. They want to be able to buy something online, know it's at the store, and then go pick it up. If you buy something online and you think you're going to get it and you show up at the store, that's a big inconvenience. That's a customer service issue. So there's fragmented issues there. Miva became the solution to help them do a few things, and I'm going to show a couple examples. The first is scaling the online sales. So you need to be able to, you need the platform to work and be performant if you're going to scale. We help with that. Reliability on the inventory front, so that their BOPIS, their buy online, pick up in store, is dead accurate. If you buy something online, you're going to be able to pick it up in the store. It makes them reliable, less customer service issues. Making the API high performance. So Miva integrates with their NetSuite backend before they were on Suite Commerce. So Suite Commerce and NetSuite, for those that don't know, are both owned by Oracle. It's the same company, but they couldn't communicate as well as Miva and NetSuite. So we made that update for them. We made the API super reliable and scalable, and now they are able to do a ton of transactions in Miva. So on any given day on Miva, because they have high volume, they do as many transactions. If they did this on Shopify, it would take them about 4 months based on Shopify's rate limits. Now, Shopify does have a solution to this. It's called Components. It'll only cost you $1 million a year. So if you want to spend $1 million a year, you could get that same type of reliability that you get core out of the box with Miva, that everybody who's a shop on Miva gets as part of their store. And then we put them on a more flexible architecture. So you need a flexible architecture if you're going to take advantage of new opportunities. And these are a couple partnerships that Rally House was able to form and then take advantage of online. The first is the Big 10, which is actually the Big 18. I don't have this conversation with my 5-year-old because I don't want to get into like an hour-long conversation on why this is. It's very hard to figure out, but it's the Big 10, which is actually 18 teams. Rally House partnered with them, was able to launch a site, which is on Miva, and drive revenue that way. And then using multi-domain and additional storefronts, which Rick talked about earlier, they are able to spin up stores very quickly. Here's an example of K-State here. So these are templated. They could spin them up as quick as a half an hour if there's not a lot of maintenance involved or customization. And they can take advantage of partnerships with different teams, colleges, and do that very quickly. So it makes them more agile as a company. And that helps increase their revenue, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And so what a lot of these improvements added up to was, number one, their site speeds up. So you can see the numbers right here, 50% faster performance in site speed, 52% boost on mobile, and then seamless product launches. So they could launch a new product. So think the Eagles championship shirt that I bought, they could launch that as soon as the Eagles win the Super Bowl and feel confident that people will buy it and the site won't go down, which is really important. We added a bunch of integrations in there that helps. The most important one, obviously, is the NetSuite integration to their backend ERP that's highly performant and fast. And then we did some other integration to help them with BOPIS and then also search. So we were able to put that package together. And now they have the scalability that they need. So that API that can process as many transactions as they need every single day, keep their site up and live and generating revenue. So we're super proud of this. And it all adds up to major results. This was no silver bullet, but it was a lot of pieces using all different pieces from the Miva platform to put together that puzzle. And what you have here today is they will very soon be generating as much revenue on Miva in 1 month than they would in an entire year before they came to Miva. So it's extreme growth working with Miva and Rally House to make this come together. And we're very, very excited about the partnership. We increased revenue 123%, conversion rate up 17%, transactions up 59%, AOV up 49%. So something that we're very, very proud of. David Barth is here. He's going to be running a session on workflows. I recommend anybody that's excited about that or these results to go attend that. It's going to be a killer session. So I'll leave you all with one quote. This is one of my favorite quotes that we have from a customer at Miva. We've gone from a simple website that used to generate minimal orders to a true e-commerce store that is now one of the main drivers for business growth. And that's a really important part. So whether you're selling offline and online or selling online primarily, this is the driver for your business growth. We understand that. We take that very seriously. And that's why we've built such a strong foundation.
Okay, so let's talk about 10.12. 10.12 is everything that we're talking about here is already being built or already built and being tested, and this is coming in spring. This is the stuff that is on the board, and it's really cool. I'm looking at the wrong slide, aren't I?
The slide on the left.
That's the, yeah. Okay,
We're out of sync again.
That's perfect.
Okay.
So product pages, as Brennan said, we've done a lot with Page Builder. One of the last major things that a developer or a customer wants to do is make their product page awesome, and we hadn't built that in Page Builder yet, but that is in 10.12. So there's the full ability to use Flex components to either add to cart functionality to marketing pages or completely rebuild different families of product pages that then can be assigned to specific products. So everything from this set of products should just look different and should look this way, or this set of products should have a different functionality. Like an example yesterday was a call for quote. So you could build a specific product page that doesn't have add to cart, it's got bill for quote. You can move things around, you can style it, you can make it look pretty, you could move things above, below. And for the devs, we introduced the concept of fragments, which is a way of writing more codey, geeky stuff that you can then inject into anywhere in a page component. And that means that it's not just there's not just the easy way with Page Builder and then a different way. These two worlds can meet. Oh, I didn't show the photo. I'm not doing this very well.
Do you want me to do the slides?
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's a great idea.
That's why I asked twice.
Yeah, okay. Louder. Ask louder.
I have to ask louder.
Okay, next slide.
Of course.
Schedule task reboots. So we've had to schedule tasks for a long, long time. How people use?
Most of you probably use scheduled tasks. Yeah, yep.
Okay, so the problem with scheduled tasks is you get used to them and they're awesome, and then you have a huge scheduled task that builds some feed and takes 3 hours, but you also build some other scheduled task that's really important, right? So we've created the concept of scheduled task queues. By default, there will be 2 in a Miva Merchant install. So you'll be able to put your important stuff in the fast queue and the other stuff in the slow queue, so they'll just work. You will not be holding up one process because of another. If you need more, you can talk to us about it.
Well, real quick, let me give you an example of something that's fast. So a scheduled task that's pushing your orders to an ERP or point of sale integration that is time sensitive, either to get the product out the door because the customer's coming to pick it up. This allows you to prioritize that over, say, rebuilding your Google Shopping feed. Google Shopping is important. It is not usually urgent. And so this is the way you balance those 2 acts. And you don't create your own self-inflicted traffic jam.
What you said. Additionally, right now, unless we somehow gave you a Linux terminal, you don't know what's going on with your scheduled task. We're fixing that, so there's a dashboard that will show which scheduled tasks are running and even progress bar on those. So that's really cool. I'm excited about that one, because I'm a geek. I'm a data guy. Okay, theme editor. We've talked a lot about Page Builder and how the marketing persona can jump into Page Editor, create marketing content. And when we went down that path, we decided we're going to be opinionated. We don't want this marketing person to come in and say, oh, this button's going to be flashing red with a yellow border. And we were pretty opinionated about go into a Flex component, select the buttons that are available to you so that everything has a look and feel that is pretty standard. There were kind of ways for the designer to go in and define what those are up top, but it was really clunky. So to read my own writing.
Let me go back. Okay.
Yeah.
Slow. There you go.
Theme Editor takes Page Builder to the next no-code level, empowering designers and design-savvy marketers to build site-wide site guides in a familiar no-code way. Thank you.
So, I mean, real quick on this, it's just really simple, right? You go if you build sites for customers, you build them a site, it looks great. I commented earlier about how then you hand it to them and they'll upload a 1 gigabyte image on the homepage and not understand why the page is crashing. Same idea here. Most of our customers, most of our merchants, many of you in the room, what you want is you want someone to give you a really well-built site, and you want the right guardrails on the site so that when your own staff who work for you, who are not going to be the same caliber graphic designer as the person who built your site, start adding content, hopefully every day, because you're trying to get new products, you're trying to leverage sales, you're trying to get things going. We all know how much hustle it takes to make your business fly, and then what happens is, well, they use the wrong font, or they use a different button, or they make a small tweak to fix one thing and it ripples throughout the site. This solves for that.
It solves for it. And additionally, on this slide, we've reconfigured the admin. We've moved things around because right now, it's been the old paradigm where you have more of a developer persona coming into your site, but marketing people can go and find Page Builder. We've made it more Page Builder centric. So Page Builder is the default thing that you find when you're managing content, and the other content that is still there is more behind advanced feature menu options. So it's much more, you get a new employee, you want them to go add some marketing stuff, they log into the admin, they go to content management, and they're ready to go. Next slide. So theme editor is 4 things. You can manage which fonts you want to expose in your website. You can style headings, you can style typography, you can style buttons, and you can style breakpoints. That's 5 things.
Okay. I went too far, but that's right. Okay.
That's fine. So theme editor really allows, like I said, the designer or the marketing savvy designer persona to create a complete style guide in a completely point and click way, either with live preview or kind of go to the next slide. So we've got a live preview mode that looks a bit like Page Builder, but the designer's in the right tab, or kind of the style guide style. And you can, within there, design for tablet, for mobile, for desktop. You can define the widths. Next.
I've gone next. Our machine wasn't
Yeah,
working.
okay. So buttons, headings, typography, and then within, let's go to the next slide. Within theme editor, within any Flex components, any of those new styles are instantly selectable within that Flex component. So your marketer now has access to all of your branded, beautiful, stylistic design. And for the developers or people still using template code, it's also exposed by standard CSS classes throughout the admin. So you can, it's your new way to make something pretty. It's our new code way of cutting out that real requirement to have that developer savvy person. But the developers and the agencies, you can also geek out and just create all these settings in XML and have your standard set up for a new customer, ingest it in there, and that's your starting point.
And this is the first part of why Kiefer is all giddy.
Maybe I should drive this part.
Okay. Yep. Go for it.
Okay, so search. So 2 years ago, we looked at where we needed to improve, and we said we really need to improve our search.
And let me talk a little bit about that. And so the history of search, if you're my age, you'll remember when MySQL search kind of first hit, and you had to have the exact words to find the exact thing. And go back to the Alta Vista or Yahoo days, for those of you who can remember those, there was a whole, sort of like what people are doing with AI prompts now, there was a whole cottage industry of experts who figured out how to write the exact right thing with the exact right words to get the results they wanted from a search engine. And then Google changed that paradigm. And they changed that paradigm ultimately by being the force that caused a lot of development to come in around Elasticsearch and Solar Search and what was known as big data or NoSQL. And so big data, NoSQL allow you to, it was really the first iteration of kind of an unstructured or semantic search where you could start typing the thing you wanted and get the results. The problem with that, and why you saw a whole series of cottage industries pop up around this, from smallish companies like SearchSpring to big companies like Algolia and everything in between, was those systems were really hard to run and they were very expensive, just like from a data center system standpoint and keeping them upgraded. And then on top of that, it creates a round trip. But you'll notice most people in our industry who do what we do have not really offered native Elasticsearch, at least not at the price points we're talking about. And as Kiefer was going to say, we were really getting to the point where we thought, gosh, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and do this. We've been hesitating for a long time. MySQL search kind of dominated from the 90s through the early aughts or mid-aughts, and then the NoSQL revolution took off around 2010. And now 15 years later, it's a little old hat. In fact, with the advent of what we're talking about, it became very old hat.
Yeah, like we took MySQL as far as we could take it. And we looked, 2 years ago, we were looking at doing Elasticsearch, and it's still like, it's not a magic bullet. If you sign up with a search service, they still have to analyze your data, create
Indexes? Which thing? Come on, Kiefer. What do you
words that are like other words.
Synonyms.
Yeah, they've still got to create all the synonyms. There's still all this stuff. Yeah, we got it. Got it in the end. So,
I thought I was the
mean, it's a long time since it's been this bad. Like cold air intake, you get cold and flu medicine, AirPods, and an intake manifold. It's not been that bad for a long time, but it's not been magical. So we were looking at building Solar or Elasticsearch or something, and then AI happened. And we're like, whoa, okay, so this is the exciting part.
And real quick, before you go deep into this, I just want to talk about, this is literally a new paradigm. So Elasticsearch was explicitly a series of technologies built for the purpose of solving the limitations of relational database search. And so it's probably a little too geeky for most, but it was a slightly faster horse carriage. This is a totally new paradigm, and we're not trying to solve the problems of the old. We literally just moved to a new technology paradigm, and it's like a I wouldn't go as far as a nirvana, but it's just a whole new world, and Kiefer will dive into this.
I mean, it's a leapfrog. So we are leapfrogging straight into pure vector AI search. there's a Paul from Bot Dojo is here. You can talk to him all day about.
He's also doing a session, which if you're an AI geek, I highly recommend you go to.
So what's under the hood? But one of the really important things under the hood of our modern AI experience is how data is stored in vectors, which we're going to compete to try to explain, I think. This is not throwing your data at ChatGPT or something else. This is a private, local, high-performance, scalable index of AI-embedded vectors that relates to your data.
And real quick on this subject, and this isn't to throw shade at any specific third-party service provider or many of them, but over the last few Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, the most common reason we've seen, we haven't had any network-wide downtime during those times, but the most common thing we've seen when sites are temporarily unable to shop or unable to work properly is because of the round trip these search providers were taking. Something goes wrong on their side, you can't get your search results back, your category stopped working, customer can't check out because JavaScript's hanging. And so we're going to solve that interdependency by just getting rid of it.
And at the same time, it's in the same Miva stack. So all of the facets, all of the faceted content, all of the combination facets, it all just works with these faster, more meaningful results. So, and we were looking at what the user interface should be to build around this in the version 1. But it just works. Like we have to put it out there first to see what we can improve, and it is a foundation for so many more of the functionality and features that we're building. It's in the same way that it's the foundation for much of the AI that you're seeing out there today. It's a foundation for much of the stuff we're going to build in the next seasons.
And let me jump in a couple things here. So, I have famously, going back to 2022, Camp Miva said, hey, I'll fall on my sword. I was late to the no-code revolution. I used to believe that any serious business would have a web developer, and I just missed the obvious, which is you really want to be able to go fast and not have IT hang you up. And I'm going to say we're doing the exact opposite of AI. We're the first. There's lots of people doing AI stuff. I get that. It's the hype bubble out there. But we are leaning heavily into this, not just because it's popular, but because I saw a technology that will be the most game-changing technology I have yet to see in my lifetime. And so everything is going to be driven from this paradigm, and it is incredible.
You ready?
Sure. Okay. That's all you. I'm going to go sit back here.
So, just to see what's under the hood, because not just because it's fun and I'm excited about it, but because it will be such a foundation and of the next family of Miva features. Let's look at this. So let's look at a one-dimensional AI that can tell if something is sad or happy. So leave Brittany alone on one hand and happy girlfriend on the other. Now this actually happened. 15 years ago, I was working in this space, and you could put a tweet into a machine and it would tell you if it was positive or negative. This is one-dimensional sentiment analysis, and it led to horrible companies like internet companies being able to just find their least happy customers on Twitter and try to make them change their mind about it, and that was one-dimensional AI. So, in a one-dimensional AI could take any meme and put it somewhere on this scale, right? That makes sense. So this dude, he's kind of right of center here. He's happy as opposed to sad. So let's add 2 dimensions. We've got winning guy as the winning, and I just put the whole cast of Jersey Shore for losing. So now that same dude, he is now here, right? It makes sense. In fact, with this 2-dimensional artificial intelligence, we can put any meme somewhere that makes sense.
Sad cat.
Right? And if we wanted to search for memes that are like other memes, it doesn't become about what's in the picture. It doesn't become anything except how close are they in this 2-dimensional space. So that's really important. It's not about spelling. It's not about words. It's not about pictures. It's about how close they are represented to each other in a 2-dimensional space. Vector embedding in AI is plotting things in a 1,536-dimensional space.
Okay, so
I haven't finished. One more bit.
Okay.
One more bit.
All you.
So it's kind of mind-melting. So if you take 2 words like day and night, in one dimension they are complete polar opposites because they are opposite. In one dimension they are right on top of each other because they are times of the day. There are things that are closer to night than day. It's just like, it just...
Yeah, night and day should be closer to each other than, say, tomato and day. Well, tomatoes are nightshade vegetables, so maybe tomatoes closer to night.
It's like the moon, shaped like the moon.
But
the point is, the context that embedded search does, everything related to every part of everything else is astonishing.
And so Kiefer's analogy is actually great, but I like to make fun of Kiefer. It's one of my favorite pastimes, especially if you're on internal Zooms, and he's a good friend of mine, a great friend of mine, I would go so far to say. But another way to think about this, and I actually asked ChatGPT to create this analogy for me. So this is AI telling me how to explain AI to someone who's not technical. But what they said is this. It is as if every single word that's ever existed has the deepest dating profile that's ever been created for that word. And so it knows all of that word's hobbies, interests, beliefs, everything, and then it plots those. And so it plays matchmaker between words. And it does solve for everything else. It knows what any two things are related to each other based on the mind-melting nature of a 1,536 dimensional space, which since we live in 4D land, we think we get it. Like, it's like if you ever read A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. Like, I read this book and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so smart, I understand this book. And then as soon as I put it down and my friend said, what was it about? I'm like, I have no idea. That's how this works.
Yeah, so how do we apply that? So if you imagine your products are these red dots plotted in a 1,536 dimensional space, then somebody types in something like cold air intake, whether they spell it correctly or not, or they put performance intake manifold, or whatever they put in, AI knows that it can plot that in the same space, and the best results, regardless of the words, regardless of anything, are the products that are closest to that in the multidimensional space. And that's really cool.
That's actually the new paradigm I was referring to. Where Elasticsearch was a technology built to solve a previous product's limitations, this is just a whole new thing.
And it can do anything. Like, we have tried to trick it. It knows that 104.9.12 is a part number. It can use a bit of the description to work out what it's for. It knows that if your brother bought a cheap Maserati, they're in trouble, but it can still find the parts. It just knows. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, it does stuff like, if you go to Rally House and you search gifts for Granny, like, that is so little context, and it can suss out your intent based on such a limited amount of data, and then it might also know, and we'll get to this in a second, other things about you so that it can actually suggest better gifts for your granny versus his granny.
So, what happened there?
Your grandma's still alive, right?
No, I was going to make I was trying to decide if I wanted to make a morbid joke, but it didn't. So that's what's in 10.12. 10.12 is in late stages of development, early stages of testing. It will land in spring. We're very excited about it, as you can tell, especially me. Let's talk about some future thinking and vision.
So, so I've decided, as of Sunday, after 2 nights of no sleep, I invented a brand name called Vexture. So if we change this, that's my mea culpa. I did it on no sleep, and I made Kiefer really uncomfortable, which is how I knew I was on the right path. And so it was like 6 p.m. on Sunday, and we're on a Zoom, and I literally hadn't slept for the previous 2 nights because of our daughter. And I'm like, no, we need a name for it, and Vexture came to be. But really, this is our vision. This is the encompassing paradigm of our vision. We want AI-powered tools for you that unlock sales and marketing superpowers of AI. You know, when you're so excited about a new technology and you don't quite have the words to describe it, it becomes tricky. But we're really building 3 different things here that ultimately are focused on one outcome: having you make more money with less manual effort than was ever possible before. And so it really encompasses 3 things: AI search, AI merchandising, and AI data insights. And so Kiefer and I are going to walk through what we're dreaming up. So 10.12, which Kiefer just mentioned, is coming very, very soon. It's possibly as soon as next month, but definitely before summer. And AI search will be baked in there. But as we roll out Miva Vexture, a broader platform, a whole new product line for Miva, we're going to start getting into the merchandising and the data insights.
So talk about uncomfortable. We're in a time space right now where I sat down and started thinking about merchandising 4 months ago, and the technology that is now available today gives me confidence that the technology that I know we need to do this securely will be available next month. Like Paul and I were joking about it. It's for product people, it's a very uncomfortable space. For sure, any savvy entrepreneur right now can manually use AI to leverage data, go down the rabbit hole, do amazing things. Our commitment is to pull that into the product and make it easy. Starting with merchandising.
Well, and one more thing, and make it secure, right?
Yeah.
If you were to feed all of your private store data to an LLM like ChatGPT, you might get some great results temporarily until one of your competitors realizes how to ask the right words to get all your private data given to them. There's no such thing as an NDA with ChatGPT. Like, you can't feed it the data with abandon and then hope that your competitor doesn't figure out how to extract your data. It's just, there's a reason why Apple is delaying the new Siri, right? Apple is so committed to privacy that they are not going to release a product that can bite them in the ass on one of their core tenants. And that's why we're doing all of this locally, all of this on private models, without risking any of your data being leaked.
Yeah, and merchandising's been around for a long time. Like the holy grail of putting the right product in front of the right person at the right time it's just a whole new world in that. And we're going to build AI-driven campaigns that combine what a shopper is currently doing with lots of other data. But let's talk about legacy AI.
Go back for a second, though. I want to talk about something on this slide. Okay. So what really matters in merchandising, right? So if you have a physical store and you're the proprietor, someone walks in, you can choose what to offer them and at what price, because you know, hopefully, how much money you make on that product. And I'm talking to MJ, and Phillies fans are kind of the worst, second worst to Raiders fans, but I'm not really a sports guy, so I just like to take the piss out of anyone who really loves a sports team. But so MJ walks in, I quickly hide my KC gear because he's got his Eagles hat on, and I'm realizing, okay, this guy, I happen to have some like one-of-a-kind Eagles stuff that I got for cheap, but he's stoked. I'll just get a lot out of him. And so I'm able to present this to MJ in real time in a physical setting, and that's really kind of where relationships and margin meet to provide you profit for your business and delight my customer. AI allows you to do that at scale with technology. So not just offering them the thing they think they want, but based on what's in inventory, what you should charge them, and how much money you're actually going to make on that in near real time or actual real time.
And in that same paradigm, that awesome salesman walks them up to checkout, and he knows what's under the counter, and based on the experience he's had with that shopper, he can pull something out and say, you know what, I'll give you this half price, and he can increase the revenue of that order by a meaningful amount just by knowing what the previous shopping.
And before you go to the next slide, I've noticed something recently, and I don't know if any of you else have noticed this, but so there's a big company in Seattle, maybe you've heard of them, Amazon, and a lot of us, they've become the default for things that aren't urgent. You want them quick, they're kind of cheap. And I've just noticed lately, like I'm going to go say find a refill for something. There's a million new products I never knew existed before we had a baby, and suddenly now there's like 20 brands I never knew about, and I'm trying to find things. And I've noticed more and more that many of these brands will have their most popular product on Amazon, but not a lot of their other products. Why is that? Well, it's because Amazon doesn't leave enough margin for them to make it worth it. So they use their leading products that drive sales via Amazon so that when someone goes and searches for that product on Amazon, they buy it, and they're willing to take that margin hit. But they're kind of subconsciously shifting you back to their website. If I know the brand name, I can probably figure out their website. If I can figure out their website, I can probably buy it from them directly. Sure, they're going to give me a 20% off coupon, but that is a fraction of what they're paying to Amazon to get the business. I mean, Jeff Bezos did the most evil, brilliant thing I've ever seen. He convinced millions of people around the world to finance his inventory while he got to keep all the money. It was evil, genius. And we believe that you need to have the power of the tools in your hands to bring your money back to you. It shouldn't be his. It should be yours. You built the product.
So it's worth.
Thanks, Keith.
See, he's getting excited.
I am. I'm actually real fired up about this too.
It's worth talking about legacy merchandising because I mean, when I was talking about search and merchandising last year at this conference, I spoke to a few customers who were using merchandising platforms, and they were unanimously saying they could spend all day, every day leveraging that, and they're barely touching it. So definitely part of the problem with legacy merchandising is the need to actually roll up your sleeves, work out what's going on, make sure you don't make mistakes like this funny Walmart thing. And there are data-driven merchandising automations. But I mean, this is a fun one from a very old Amazon. You don't always get what some customers bought relating some other customers right. So again, legacy merchandising is great and all, but what we want to do is build something that, sure, you can manually decide how you want your categories or search results to spit out, but wouldn't it be really nice if you could just harness the power of AI thinking, our new search, historical data, and the individual shopping experience of somebody as they're going through your store to kind of automatically do that for you, and that's our goal. So these are mock-ups of where we see this going. We see merchandising as being a major landing page within the Miva Merchant Admin. We see campaigns being a major part of the Miva Merchant Admin. We see campaigns as being AI-driven or manually driven. Giving you the ability to, so let's say you create a campaign, you might create a personalization campaign to promote something during upsell based on somebody's shopping journey with a prompt-driven or a manual-driven process. You could reshift categories based on margin awareness or best sellers or low inventory or high inventory. So we're trying to combine, like, hey, I want to do this, and impact the category or the search layouts accordingly, create these personalization and upsell panels. And it's already truly possible. I'm signed again. It's already truly possible if we say, if we just know that somebody's added a cold air intake to their shopping cart, we can ask a modern LLM, what tools is this person looking for? What is the next thing they might buy for their project? And we can promote those in a panel using Flex components.
The other thing about this is being built from the ground up to be omni-channel. right? So, okay, initially, it's primarily going to be driven by your web channel, which is your Miva store, or your multi-web channel, because you can now have multiple storefronts. But it's going to take things like data from Google or from Google Shopping. It's also, as we build out Miva Connect connectors to know how much your margin awareness is. And then as time progresses, we expect this to have an omni-channel awareness of where you make your money. So going back to what I was saying about Amazon, you might sell your baby monitor on Amazon for $200, and you sell on your website for $200, and you don't make any money, maybe even lose a little money selling it on Amazon. That's why you don't sell the carrying case and the travel case and the 40 other things a tired parent's going to buy, because anything that makes them sound like they're going to get some sleep, they're going to buy. You sell those from your website, and then you can use data to help prompt channel shift. Amazon owns those customers when they bought from Amazon, but they don't stop you from getting to know your customers and then luring them to your website, which if you're not spending all of your time trying to get your customers you've got on more expensive channels move to your channel, you're missing out. You're doing all of this heavy lifting and then you're handing the money to Jeff. You should stop giving your money to Jeff.
And to make all this possible, we'll have to store more data than we have before. The data that we've been giving to Google Analytics, the data we've been giving to Facebook, the data we've been giving everywhere, we will have to store that data because we'll need to leverage it, and we will create a safe and private space that you can work with that data. So this is technically possible right now. Next month, we're hoping it'll be technically possible in a more private way, and that's where things are going, and that's where we're working with it. But from orders in the last 90 days, create insights around products that would be categorized as specifically winter-related, give product details including a summary of their sales, and also including total sales, sales breakdown by day and week, and a graph of orders over time.
And real quick, have you all, by this point, and ChatGPT has only been live to the public for 2.5 years? It was November 22, so 2.5 years. Have you all at least done some prompts where you're just talking to ChatGPT like a regular person? Hopefully you have. But that's what he means by prompt here. So this is way back when, Kiefer and David Hubbard are probably the only two people in this room, maybe Richie Ote, know who this person is. But we used to have a guy who was a graphic designer for Miva. And I would say, okay, I need an email that looks like this and this and this. And I really thought I had described it well. And then 4 or 5 hours of what I thought was pretty expensive work would happen, and I would get something that looked like a Crayola crayon drawing a kid did. And I would be furious. I just spent hundreds of dollars. I spent half a day's work. And I'm farther from my vision of an email that I wanted than closer. And so then but my first request was a prompt, if you will. And then I would grab his thing and I would write all over it and say, no, you didn't understand. I want this, this, and this, and this. And sometimes that would take 4 or 5 revisions in 3 days, and I would be ready to fire someone by the end. But that's how this works. So except you're not going to be ready to fire them. It's going to happen instantly. You write a prompt, it gives you some data. You're like, oh, no, that's not what I meant. I meant this. And you talk to it like you would talk to a human being.
So just part of our vision for a new era of AI-driven e-commerce.
All right, thank you, sir. I will take from here. Great job, Kiefer.
Thank
you. I sent an email, a personal email. It's funny, some people thought it was a marketing email, but I literally sent a personal email to like 60 or 70 of our clients a couple weeks ago, just saying, hey, if you're not coming to Camp Miva, you really should. This is the most exciting set of announcements we've ever made. Last year we showed I think we showed like a roadmap slide that we had kind of sanitized. Kiefer gets really uncomfortable, which does give me some joy, when I start promising dates or we start promising dates. And so we're not doing it exactly that way. 10.12 is coming, and the gentleman's agreement that Kiefer and I have come up with is if it's in development, if it's being developed and we have a release date scheduled, then I can start talking about dates. Other than that, I have to be a little more nebulous. But when I see you all next year, you will have some of those merchandising tools in your hands. You'll have some of those insight tools in your hands, and they are the future. They are all of the future in a world where, in a no-code, AI intelligent way, you can drive your business forward and spend less time chasing down stupid things. And we are just so excited to be able to share that with you here today.